The night was heavy with silence, broken only by the piercing sound of police sirens. Rubina stood at her doorstep, frozen, as officers dragged her son Armin away in handcuffs. Neighbors whispered, some with pity, others with cruel satisfaction. "He must have done something," they murmured. Rubina's world collapsed in that moment. Her son was no criminal. He was a dreamer, a young man who wanted to study law, to fight for justice, to make his mother proud. But powerful men in the town had decided otherwise. To protect their own corruption, they framed him. Rubina's tears fell silently, but inside her heart burned with fire. She whispered to herself, "If the system won't fight for my son, then I will." Rubina had lived a simple life. A widow, she raised Armin alone, working long hours at a textile shop. Her neighbors admired her resilience, but they underestimated her strength. To them, she was just a mother, fragile and ordinary. Armin was her pride. He loved books, often staying up late reading about history and justice. He dreamed of becoming a lawyer one day to fight for those who had no voice. Ironically, fate had turned him into the very victim he once wanted to defend. The town itself was divided. On one side were ordinary families like Rubina's, struggling to survive. On the other side were the powerful elites, businessmen, politicians, and corrupt officials who controlled everything. When Armin accidentally uncovered a piece of their dirty dealings, they silenced him by branding him a criminal. The trial was swift and merciless. Evidence was fabricated, witnesses were bribed, and the judge turned a blind eye. Rubina sat in the courtroom, clutching her scarf, watching her son condemned for a crime he never committed. Her pleas fell on deaf ears. "Justice will be served," the prosecutor said coldly, while the crowd nodded in agreement. But Rubina knew justice had been buried under lies. At home, she faced humiliation. Neighbors avoided her, relatives advised her to accept fate. "You can't fight them," they said. But Rubina's soul refused to surrender. Nights turned into weeks, weeks into months. Rubina began her silent war. She visited archives, searched through dusty files, begged reluctant witnesses to speak. She walked miles under the scorching sun, chasing fragments of truth. Her body grew weaker, but her spirit grew stronger. She faced threats, anonymous letters warning her to stop, strangers following her in the dark. Yet she pressed on. One rainy night, Rubina found herself in an abandoned warehouse, searching through old CCTV tapes. Her hands trembled as she discovered footage that proved her son was innocent. Tears streamed down her face. For the first time, hope flickered. Rubina collected every shred of proof, documents, testimonies, recordings. She built her own case, stronger than the one the corrupt officials had fabricated. But evidence alone was not enough. She needed courage to bring it to light. She approached journalists, activists, anyone who would listen. Slowly, whispers of her fight spread. People began to see her not as a helpless mother, but as a warrior. The day came when Rubina stood before cameras, holding the evidence in her hands. Her voice shook, but her words were clear. "My son is innocent." The real criminals are those who hide behind power. The town erupted. Media headlines exposed the corruption. The elites who once seemed untouchable now trembled. The court reopened the case. This time, the truth could not be ignored. Armin was freed, his innocence restored. Rubina embraced him, her tears finally of relief, not despair. The corrupt officials faced trial. The town, once silent, now demanded accountability. Rubina became a symbol of resilience. Her fight inspired countless others to stand against injustice. She proved that even an ordinary mother could shake the foundations of corruption. Her final words echoed in every heart. I never wanted revenge. I wanted the truth. But the truth itself became my greatest revenge.